Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right, welcome to the 1 Million Cups here in Brunswick, Georgia. My name is Vanessa Wagner, and I proudly serve the Golden Isles Development Authority as their Director of Business Development and Strategic Programs. Thank you. I didn't expect a call for that already. Is this anybody's first time joining 1 Million Cups? Show of hands. Welcome. This is a program that was started by the Kauffman Foundation in Kansas City as the idea that entrepreneurs... Thank you. I was a little short for the mic stand. All right, this is a program that was started by the Kauffman Foundation in Kansas City as the idea that entrepreneurs don't start a business until they've drank at least 1 million cups of coffee, but also with the support of the community. Now, we know any founders in the room? We know that you may need a little bit something stronger than coffee to start a business. So that's why we here in Brunswick host our 1 Million Cups at Tipsy McSway's. Thank you so much for our host.
My pleasure.
And we appreciate you being a gathering spot, not only for 1 Million Cups, but really for so much in our community. Thank you. Now, if this is your first time joining 1 Million Cups, you all have some work to do as our audience. As our business owners are here presenting on stage, it's your job to take notes, think about thoughtful questions to ask, and then also how you can help their business grow, suggestions and solutions in the community. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the stage our first business. Now, I met Libby several months ago, and immediately I was taken by her energy and enthusiasm. You know when you can just tell somebody has a passion for what they do? Well, that was Miss Libby. So I pleaded with her, I'm like, you gotta come and present because I wanted to share that with our 1 Million Cups community here in Brunswick, Georgia. So would you please join me in welcoming Expand Coaching.
Thank you, Vanessa. I have to say the feeling was mutual. I immediately felt like we were just gonna be friends, so we are. But thank you all for having me. I'm really excited to be here today. And I am looking for some feedback and some encouragement, so I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do that. So to tell you a little bit more about why I'm here today, I'm going to take you back a little bit. So it was a really beautiful morning in May in Oklahoma when I was born. Sorry, I promised my husband I wasn't going to say that, so nobody tell him, please. But really, that is important because when I was 15, we moved from Oklahoma to here, to Brunswick, Georgia. And on my first day of high school at Glen Academy, I actually met my husband. So it was an important move for us. I know, right? So we, after college, spent about 10 years in Charleston, South Carolina. And I got my master's degree in college counseling and student affairs from the Citadel Graduate College there. And then I worked in higher education. So I was doing leadership development for students and was working student activities and really just kind of helping them learn and grow. And then after our second redheaded child was born, we moved back home because we needed to be near family to help raise them. If you have kids, you understand you need to have that support system around you. So we came back to Brunswick about 4.5 years ago. So fast forward to last spring. And I was looking for something new to do with my students. So I had done StrengthsFinder, I had done DISC, I had done True Colors, and Myers-Briggs, so some of these leadership assessments you may have heard of. And I was just looking for something fresh. I just wanted something new to do with them. And I found the Enneagram. So how many of you have heard of the Enneagram? All right, those of you who heard of it from me, put your hands down. All right, so there's still a couple that at least know the word. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, the Enneagram is a tool that can be used for self-development. So it is all about your motivations. That's what makes it a little bit different than these other tools that I talked about. So it's the why behind what we do. It's not how we show up, it's your desires and your fears, so it goes a little bit deeper. And I immediately went down a rabbit hole. So I started researching it and learning more about it, and it has 9 archetypes for human character, and it's really simply just called types 1 through 9. And so I found out that I am an 8. So an 8 is also called the challenger, and that immediately hit home with me because the 8 is the type of person who kind of pushes against the status quo. They are kind of loud and in charge. They are not afraid of conflict. And that all really made sense. And then I read that type 8 women are the most misunderstood type. Because it's not necessarily how women are supposed to show up in our world. And that really hit home for me, because that was a message that I had heard again and again throughout my career, was that I was too harsh or too abrasive, or I needed to soften a little bit and let down. And if anybody said to me, this is the way we do it, because it's always been done like that, that's how you really get under my skin. Okay? So I had really felt seen and understood, and it really started to change my life when I started to understand a little bit more about why I was doing these things. And so 8s also don't do anything halfway. So I didn't just learn about it, I got certified in it, and then I started a business. So didn't just do a little self-awareness, but I turned it into a business. So July of 2020, I started Expand Coaching and Consulting. And I picked that name for 2 reasons. One was that I wanted it to be about growth. I wanted it to be about transformation. So the word expand to me made sense, that you're expanding beyond yesterday. And secondly, I very intentionally did not name it Libby Consulting, because I already had an idea that this was going to be bigger than me, and that I wanted it to be bigger than just me going around and using this tool. And I am excited to share that I already have another coach under my umbrella, so that was a good choice that I made there. And so I started using it on my friends and my family, mostly, and literally forced everyone in my sphere of influence to figure out what their type was so that we could talk about it. And throughout the fall, it was just a side hustle. We kind of started picking up some traction. I was working with some people and getting good feedback from it. And so I went to my husband and I said, I want to quit my job. Now, I was really mindful that we were in the middle of the pandemic and people were losing their jobs, and here I was like voluntarily leaving a stable job that I had. But he and I both know that I'm just not meant to work for other people. Okay, so, yeah. So he agreed and supported me wholeheartedly. And in January of this past year, I quit my job and decided that I was going to put all of my time and energy into this if I was going to make something of it. So this past month, I celebrated 1 year of being a business owner. Thank you. And 6 months of doing it full time. And I have exceeded my goals that I had set for myself. And it has been a wild ride, let me tell you. But some of that's thanks to COVID, because people realized that we could do things virtually. So I have worked with clients from London, Canada. Did you know there's a London, Canada? I didn't. To London, England. I knew about that one. And from Tokyo to California, because I've been able to do it over Zoom. So you might be wondering what I'm doing with these clients. Maybe just a little bit. I work with individuals and couples using the Enneagram as a tool. And what we're doing is building their self-awareness through learning about it. And then we're talking about communication and conflict and how they relate to other people. We talk about childhood patterns and defense mechanisms and all the fun stuff, right? And we just kind of take it a little bit deeper, and I usually work with them over a 6-month period. And then I'm also working with teams and companies and groups. And when I'm working with them, it's all about communication. How do we relate to each other more effectively? We might talk about conflict resolution, or how to have difficult conversations with each other. We talk about stress management and self-care. I've even developed a series for salespeople to help them kind of understand their own sales strategy, and then if you can understand the motivations and desires and fears of the clients that you're working with, that can help you be more effective. I've also really kept up with my history in higher ed. So I've worked a lot with college students. I've worked with some college staffs. So just on Monday, I worked with Georgia Southern University and their Office of Multicultural Affairs. And I'm working with Clemson University next month. So I've really stayed connected to my roots there, and that's been fun. But the reason I'm here is because I really want to connect more to this community. So I want to dive into Brunswick more. I know there are amazing companies right here in my backyard that I can work with and build a relationship with. I've had the honor of working with H2O Creative Group and had a lot of fun with them. And I also worked with the staff of the chapel. And in the next couple weeks, I'm going to work with Robbie Turner with his team at Turner and Associates. So I'm starting to kind of plug in, but I want to do that more. And so I'm here today to seek some help with that.
So I'm going to come around.
Is it not fun?
I'm going to come around and ask questions.
I'm really loud.
And you have suggestions as well. And for those guests that are following us on Facebook Live, whether you're down the road or up in New York, you're welcome to use the chat feature to ask any questions or make suggestions. So I'm going to leave this with you, and I'll screen questions if it works. Maybe it was
Does
just
it
me.
work? It is working? Okay. I have a background in theater, so I can project to the back. It's not a problem. I've done karaoke on this stage too.
I can make that happen.
Any requests? I'm sorry.
That's okay. Congratulations on your journey. We should get a drink. I'm on the same journey. But my question is, how do you balance your profession in your personal life? Because I have to imagine friends and family come to you for advice, and now this is a business.
Right. I love when friends and family come to me for advice. I gave it to them for free at first because I was trying to build, that reputation and getting in with it. But I have family members now that I give a friends and family rate to, and so it's still part of that business. But we also just talk about it all the time. I mean, if you spend any time with me and any of my friends or family, the Enneagram is going to come up at some point. My 7-year-old son is very well versed in it. Actually, my next Instagram series, he is producing himself. So it's a lot about balance. But on the other side of balance, I've had to set some pretty firm boundaries. And that's something that I even spoke to my husband about early on. He is a type 3, that's the achiever. He works 3 jobs all the time. And so he has a hard time understanding when I'm just like, no, I'm not working tonight, or no, I'm not going to do this. But it's just all about setting those healthy boundaries. And, my office is off my bedroom. It's really easy to get up at midnight and go in there and work on something. But I have to tell myself, no, I'm balancing my family, my mental health, and then also having the space for a successful business.
I think after this past year or so, we all think balance is more important than we ever did. I'm going to actually take moderator's rights and ask a question. You mentioned that you just hired your first employee. That's a big decision for small businesses. Do you want to just stay on the path you are, maybe just take fewer clients, or do you really want to be a business owner and have employees? How did you make that decision?
So she is a coach also. So I'm supporting her under my umbrella. So I'm helping guide her and teach her the things that I've done. She's utilizing my platforms. I'm helping to market her. She has a different audience that she is selling to. But that is kind of one of those things I think as an entrepreneur that you pivot a little bit to, that I can help coach other coaches because I've kind of figured out what I'm doing. I'm still early and I still have a lot to learn, but I can help guide someone else along that path. And because I'm a type A, I'm really good at kind of like getting behind and pushing people, and challenging them and helping them to understand. And I'm really intrinsically motivated too, so it's not ever an idea of like I'm just laying on the couch when I should be working. And I think being able to share that with other people sometimes can be really helpful also.
I'm going to have to take your assessment because I feel like you and I are very much alike.
I offered to come do it at the Development Authority.
Okay.
Justin.
Good luck.
I'm trying to understand exactly what kind of service that you offer and how much is it?
Sure. So I'm offering coaching on a one-on-one basis or for couples. So that can be something that we work together. I have packages for that you can either pay monthly or pay for the entire 6-month period. The prices are on the website. I won't bore you all with that, but I'm very open and transparent about that. But then I'm also working with companies, and I'm coming in and spending time with them. The one I did on Monday was 4 hours long, so it was the afternoon of a retreat. But I've also, when I went into H2O, I went twice for 2 hours, so it was a little more palatable. But that varies depending on the amount of people there, depending on what resources I'm providing. So that's a conversation that I have with the company owner, and I really can make this tool fit just about anything you need. So I'll tell them, what are your pain points? What are you looking for? What's happening in your business right now that you want to see resolved? And then I'm catering workshops to meet their needs, to help have those conversations and give them a new tool that a lot of times offers them a shared vocabulary. So it's just that we can all kind of talk about the same thing and understand where that other person's coming from in order to be more effective together.
May I
Please do.
share the experience of H2O? So when Libby came the first time, we're creatives and salespeople. And those groups usually, I mean, we've known each other for the longest time, but we still don't talk the same languages. And as Libby was walking us through all of our characteristics, we realized that we actually can communicate, but we have to understand that when the person says something to us, there is, I'm going to respond from the emotional point of view, that person is going to respond from the more intellectual point of view. And then we found pathways between us that we didn't offer to explore. And the second time she came, it was a lot more interesting. And I'm hoping that you're going to regularly to have that booster shot.
Don't compare me to the vaccine. No, thank you. I appreciate it. And H2O asked me to come back like a week after I'd been there the first time, and I just thought that was the highest compliment. Like, that meant so much to me that they enjoyed spending that time with me and wanted me to come back so quickly. And that I've started to use that more as a model, because then I can teach you the tool the first time and really kind of get you to understand it, and then I come back and we go a lot deeper with the conversation because you've had time to kind of chew on it and process it and think about it in your own life.
Just a reminder, Libby did have a question for us. How can we help her get more involved in the community or identify local contacts or organizations to work with? So any suggestions from the audience? All right, Bill, we go right back to you.
If you're not a part of the chamber, I would suggest
That was the very first thing that I did. Yes, I'm a member of the chamber.
We have several networking groups, Rotary clubs, I could go on now. I'm like involved in 19 of them, so.
If you have any questions, I'm the new Director of Membership Services, so I'm here for you. So again, if you have any questions, our office is also across the street.
All right, so I've got drinks,
So
I've
someone
got coffee.
sit down for,
Is anyone writing this down?
All right, any additional questions from back of the room here? All right, well, thank you so much. Now, before we take a break, which will be your opportunity to crush Libby and ask her all the questions you didn't ask that you're just dying to ask, I did want to take a moment to thank our volunteer organizers. If you are a 1 Million Cup organizer, would you please raise your hand? Right. These are the folks that are out being ambassadors for this program in the community, talking to other entrepreneurs about the benefits of 1 Million Cups. They're sharing resources, they're helping setting up the technology. So really this couldn't be possible without them. So thank you so much to our organizers.